The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio. From hot dogs to cool kitties, this is Darkside of the Pooch.
Oh, welcome back to Darkside of the Pooch. I feel like it's been, it has been a hot minute since we've done Darkside of the Pooch. We didn't do anything on Labor Day week. I didn't hear from you. You didn't hear from me. So we just kind of took a week off, which is fine. And then it was so good to hear from you today. And you told me you had lots of news to share today for Darkside of the Pooch. By the way, brought to you by Sasquatch Toys and Comics down there on Citation Lane in Homewood. They're blowing the doors off, man. They got comics from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all kinds of great toys, Legos, stuff from Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars, all kinds of great toys. Check it out. Still in the box. If you find some stuff in your attic, they buy, sell, and trade. And also Ed's Pet World, it's owned by the same dude. Go figure. He's got a toy store and a pet store. Pretty good life right there, isn't it? When I grow up, I want to own a pet store and a toy store. All right, he's batting 1,000 here.
Did you read comics? Did you read comics?
You know what? I did not. I never got into comics. I was big into baseball cards. By the way, I saw something the other day. Was it a Wayne Gretzky 1999 rookie card? Went for like $3 million, and I'm like, wait a minute, a 1999 rookie card went for $3 million. I'm like, that's not that long ago. I'm like,
yeah, but Wayne Gretzky wasn't a rookie in 1999.
Well, whatever it was a recent. It was recent. It's like 1987 or 88 or whenever he would have been a rookie. But it was someone who obviously I got a chance. It wasn't like Jackie Robinson or Ty Cobb. It wasn't one of these. It was like someone like, wow, like Barry Bonds rookie card worth $14 million. I'm like, heck, I probably have one of those.
Cards are back, and I mean they are really back. My son loves them, and listen, if Sasquatch doesn't have cards, they need to start getting some cards.
They don't have cards, and that is something that I actually spoke to Seth about. That's probably something he said they have limited stuff, but they really don't get into the card business. They're more into the comics thing. But can I tell you something? I've actually considered getting cards myself. I told you
they're still cool. They're still cool.
No, I mean, well, look who's buying them. It's not 12-year-olds with $3 million buying cards. They're adults, right? I found a pack of is it clear? Wing clear? Not tops.
Fleer. Clear.
I found 12 packs of Fleer cards from 1994 that were unopened.
Did you open them?
In a box? Yeah, I did.
Did you open them?
Yeah, I opened them up a couple of weeks ago. I told Santo, I said, come over here and check them. I said, first of all, they're Fleers. And I recognized most of the players, but there was nothing in there famous. But it was 1994, and I thought, that's 30 years ago.
I'm telling you, I've been having such a great time with my son because I used to love going to, and the reason I ask about the comics was that growing up in a small town in Northwest Alabama, we did not have anywhere to get comics. And so I missed that comic boat.
Wow.
I never had a place I could get them. But in Haleyville, believe it or not, we did have some card shops. And I just had the best time. We would go there, you're getting packs or you're buying single cards. And then, back then, I have a point to this, okay?
Yeah.
So back then, you would buy a Beckett. And the Beckett listed all of the cards and how much they were worth. So you would know.
What was a Beckett?
It was called Beckett. It was like,
it was a magazine or something?
It was a magazine.
Okay.
And it was a publication. And so you would look, and if your card was worth basically anything, it was in these Becketts. And I think they came out once a month. I mean, It was a monthly publication. So if you got the Beckett, you could be sure you weren't getting ripped off. You could do even trades.
That's awesome.
And so now, because when my son was like, hey, my kids at school are getting these cards, and I think I want to try to get into it. And I said, great, that's awesome. Let's do it. But I was like, we got to be sure we're not getting ripped off. So we got to get the Beckett. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, we gotta get the publication. And so we went into one of these card stores, and I was looking around for it, and they looked at me like I, of course, had two heads because I'm, almost 42 years old.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, what you do now is you go on eBay sold, and then you just search for the card, and the market will tell you
And
what
you
it's
got to
worth.
you got to do sold because
You got to go to eBay sold.
Yeah, because people ask for crazy prices. It doesn't mean they're getting it. Yeah.
And it's so cool because we'll open these packs and there's variations on these cards. So this was my first lesson on eBay sold. Okay. So we're looking through these cards that my son had traded at school, and there was a Ronald Acuna Jr. that, he's hurt now. He plays right field for the Braves.
Yeah.
And it was a really unique card. It said Fearless at the top, and it had all these like cool colors. It wasn't just a regular guy swinging a bat.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up on eBay sold, and it's $1,500. And I said,
Really?
dude, you traded for this card? He said, yeah, my buddy traded it. I said, what did you give him? And he said, oh, I gave him this card, whatever. And so I'm texting my friends who are my age.
Wow.
And so I'm texting my friends, and they're like, wait a minute, look at the card very closely. So I look it up again, and there's a purple variant that you have to look at very closely because only like 6 of the lines are purple, and he had the silver variant. So then I re-looked it up. It's worth like $3.
But isn't that amazing?
It's crazy that they have all these variants now, but it's cool, man. I'm sorry to get off on that tangent.
No, I love it, man. I used to collect baseball cards. My son did for a period of time, and I didn't want to push him. But I mean, I remember at the shoebox, and I would sit there and go through my baseball cards and just count them, and I would write down each team and how many cards I had for each team. And I knew in a set there were 625. This is 1990, 1975, 76 during the Big Red days. And I knew there were 625 cards to the set. Little did I know that you could actually go buy the entire set.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I thought, why would someone want to do that? Why would someone go buy?
What's the fun in that?
Yeah. And so one year I had every card. I think it was 1975. It was either 1974 or 1975. I could see my thing, except for one baseball card. It was from the Cincinnati Reds. His name was Mike Lum. And Mike Lum was a utility player who got called up like halfway through the year, came back down. And of course, we didn't have the internet and stuff. There was nowhere even to look if there was a Mike Lum card. And so I went up to this place up the street. Like you said, there used to be card shops all over the place. And I went in there and I said, I'm looking for a Mike Lum card. And he's like, you're the only kid in the world ever looking for a Mike Lum card.
Is he your uncle or something?
And he said, I've got a Mike Lum card. And it was purple. I'll never forget. I could see it's purple and brown, which was a really strange color for a Topps card. And I didn't buy it because I didn't get it the right way. I was like, no, I'm not going to buy it because I bought every card I've got, and that's the beauty in getting the cards. But I don't remember if you remember, they used to come in, cards would come in baseball packs with a piece of gum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they have gum in them anymore.
No, they don't.
The gum was really super hard, crunchy.
Terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. And I remember baseball season always coincided with Lent. And I always give up chewing gum and stuff for Lent. And so I'd get my baseball cards. And by the time Lent was over, I'd have a stack of bubble gum because I couldn't eat my bubble gum. This is bringing back some great memories for me. What was I talking about? So my mom would take me shopping once in a while to get a JCPenney's or whatever. And they had a little toy section, and they had cards in a cellophane clear bag. It was about this long, and there were three cards on the top, and it came in a pack, and you bought a pack of 3 stacks. I guess there was maybe 50 cards in one of these packs, and cards were what, a dime or whatever, so it ended up being like, I don't know, $1.39 or something for one of these things. And so you could look at the front and see who you were getting, and you could look at the back and see who you're getting. And I would sit down there at JCPenney's and I would go through 100 boxes of those clear. I was so cracked up, man. I'm serious. I was like on crack. It was so, I'd sit there and I go to the manager and I go, do you have any more boxes in the back that you're not? And he's like, as long as you don't open them, you can go through them if you want. And I would sit there for hours going through. And of course I would find 20 or 30 packs that I either needed the players or they were really good cards. And my mom would go, you get 2, you get 2 cards, But I remember doing that all the time. And yeah, I went through the thing where a buddy of mine, he was my program director, got big time into card collecting, like in his 30s. He did it as an investment. And he went through all my baseball cards and made me an offer on stuff. And he, a lot of them, he's like, listen, I don't need them. I got double. So I'm just going to give these back to you. And some of them are worth some money. Some will let you have these back. And so I've got maybe about 100, 150 of them. And most of them are, pretty good cards, but I haven't looked to see what they're worth
It's
recently.
so cool. Go to eBay sold, and some of these stores, they'll have like these mystery boxes
Yeah.
that they know what's in them. I mean,
Yeah.
they have like mined these cards that they come in and they're ripping packs and stuff, but they'll put like good finds in there.
Yeah.
So these mystery boxes will have 8 or 10 cards in there. You can buy the mystery box for like $30. And so my son's done that a couple times, and we've taken the cards out and looked them up on eBay sold. And you pay $30 for this mystery box, and you wind up with a couple $100 worth of cards.
Oh,
Now, of course, we're not trying to flip them.
yeah.
We're not trying to make money off of it. We're just having a good time together, and the cards are just so cool these days. So it's pretty cool.
I have not seen a card since my son got into football cards, which I had never done. I did baseball. He got hockey cards. Yeah, we got into it for a little bit, and I kind of wish he had gotten into it as much as I did, but I can't tell you how much money I spent. And then I end up collecting these other cards. It was some type of like a Mad magazine card collection.
Oh my gosh. You know what
Yeah.
I used to you remember Garbage Pail Kids?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
used to collect those? This
Oh
wasn't
gosh, I
Garbage
loved
Pail.
them.
This was something along the same lines, but it was gross humor, if you will.
Yeah.
And I used to have that stack of cards, and they were stickers. So there was the front of the card was the sticker, and the back of the card you took the sticker off, and then the same image was underneath. So you still
Yeah.
had the card, and it was stickers. And I had a pack of maybe 120, 130 of these things, and I couldn't find them. And I looked everywhere for these cards, and I was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years old. And then, like, when I was 14 or 15, my mom was going through a box of clothes, and she found my jacket. I had a jacket that I had had for like 15 years, and that stack of cards was in that jacket. I could not
Oh my
believe it. It was like, and
gosh.
I was like, it's like, and they were all in mint condition because I hadn't touched them in 15 years.
Uh,
It's great, man. I wish kids got, like all things, adults ruin everything for kids. And we did when, we started buying cards and stuff. But you make me almost want to go back out and start collecting cards again because it is, I was so damn smart. I knew every Major League Baseball player because I was going through their cards. I knew their averages. I knew
mhm.
there was always a little tidbit about each player in the corner. No, it had some weird little dog head and said so and so loves to eat
Yeah.
Taco Bell on Tuesdays or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the? But there'd be a little tidbit about each player, and it also have their farm league
Yeah.
stats. And so yeah, so I learned so much about the game, and now there are so many things about baseball, about velocity, exit speeds, and all this other crap that they get into. I couldn't even tell you, but yeah. Well, so I will tell Seth, and I will tell him that we talked about it for about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's it's fun, man. But I've always been like, last thing I'll say about it, I've always been one that wants to get the packs and open them up and roll the dice. You may get at,
yeah,
you may get nothing. You're gonna spend $5 on a pack. You might find something awesome. I've never been one to be like, oh, I'm gonna there's a Tua, there's a Tua rookie card. I'm gonna buy that for $30 or whatever. It's like, where's the fun in that, man?
no, you're right. It had nothing to do with the money. It was about trying to collect, and you traded because you didn't have the player, not because you wanted the player. I
Right.
mean, like I said, I spent an entire summer trying to find Michael Lum. And by the way, I got Michael Lum. I got that card, and it just so happens that they make some cards a lot more than they make other cards.
Hmm.
I had like I don't know, like 57 George Fosters. And it was an all-star card. It was an all. I could see it in my mind. I could George Foster had a long uh, sideburns, and he had 52 bombs in 1982. And I remember
It's a lot of
sitting
home
in,
runs.
yeah, I remember seeing it back then. It was, yeah, big time. And I remember seeing all those George Fosters, and I'm like, I was willing to trade. And I would call my buddies. I go, "Do you got Michael Lum?" Pick up the dial phone, and do you have
Yeah.
Michael Lum? I'm looking for Michael Lum, and everyone's like, "Who the hell's Michael Lum?" I'm like, a utility guy for the Cincinnati Reds, and I finally, and the Reds, of course, are my team. So, but I ended up getting Michael Lum, and by then, my cards were dismantled, and but no, it was, man, you've taken me back a beautiful road. Thank you. That was a lot of time, and it makes me. But now I don't know. First of all, I don't know what they cost. What does a pack of cards cost? Do you know?
It depends because they have like different levels now, and like if you get the newer year, it's a little more expensive, but it's $5 to $8 for just regular pack of cards.
Yeah.
But
So
hey, but you get a lot fewer now. That's the rub. You may get a pack that only has 6 cards in it.
yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
back in the day, I feel like they had like 12 or
Say,
15
say
cards in every
if you
pack.
if you put in there what do baseball cards cost today, everything is all these 30 most valuable baseball cards, how to determine their worth. I mean, all price guides. I mean, just tell me how much
Yeah,
two,
5 to 8 bucks.
2024 tops baseball cards, $6.95 at Walmart. The
Yeah.
crazy thing about it though too is I would cut grass. My dad would give me 35 cents a week for my allowance. I don't know why I remember that. 35 cents a week for my allowance. And you spent your allowance on your baseball cards or your slushies. We used to walk
Hmm.
up to the store. There was a pharmacy called the Mulberg's Pharmacy, and they had ice cream, soft serve ice cream cones. They had vanilla on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and chocolate on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays. They were closed on Sundays, and I'd go up there because I
Wow.
love chocolate ice cream on. So I go up there on the off days, and we get a couple of baseball cards until, of course, I got the crack thing, which was like it was like it was like for you drug dealers out there, it was like getting like a half bag, and all of a sudden you're buying an ounce at a time. It was like holy crap, what have I got myself into? You got an ounce of Coke sitting on the kitchen table. So I'd have all these baseball cards, man, and I would go really slow because I wanted to enjoy the whole and the smell. I can remember the
Oh
smell of
yeah.
the
Hmm.
smell was so good. They had no gum in them. But now, but I think now they'll send you like parts of their uniforms.
Oh, I'm telling like some of these cards are incredible. Like my son's got some that's game worn. One of my favorite cards that he has, he got this out of one of these mystery boxes. It is it's a Chipper Jones and an Austin Riley card. So they're both
Well,
on it. And it's a game used piece of Chipper Jones jersey. It's tiny. It's
yeah,
tiny.
yeah.
And a tiny sliver of Austin Riley's bat on the card.
Wow.
Now the card's thick. It's not like, they used to be like an index card
Uh-huh.
thick. Okay. Well, this card that I'm talking about is probably 3 or 4 millimeters thick. So I mean, they're
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I mean they have game used like slivers of jerseys and stuff
And
on the
I mean,
cards.
there's no reason for them to cheat you out of it, but you have no clue.
You have
You know
no
what I mean?
idea.
You never find out. Did you ever get an off-printed card?
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
realize. I always thought an off-printed card with like money would be worth something because it's off-printed, right? In other words, the face is off the center or something like that. But in the card world, that's a bad thing unless it's
It,
right up, and so much so that people
some
can
of
cut.
them,
They cut
yes,
the
but
corners.
some of them can be worth more.
Yeah,
Some of them, I think it depends on the cut is. But
hmm
sometimes if there's only like 2 of those in the whole
yeah.
world or something,
There's
it's
baseball
all.
cutting machines that obviously you will ruin the cost of your machine because they do look exactly at the size of the card. It could be a millisecond
Hmm.
or a millimeter, but where you can cut the corners so you can make the corners nice and sharp so you can get more nines and tens and stuff. By the way, since you're bringing this up, do you know what was in every single Olympic medal this year in Paris?
Oh gosh. Dirty water.
A piece, a piece of the Eiffel Tower.
What?
Yeah. They put a small piece of the Eiffel Tower in every single medal this year. So you
When
own
they
a piece of the
chisel
Eiffel
it
Tower.
off, it's gonna fall
I, I
down.
I don't know how they did it, but I mean, obviously it was, but out of the thousands of medals they did, they took there was a small little piece, and you can actually see it. It's a different color,
Oh,
and
how
it's
cool.
on the thing. So you have a piece of the Eiffel Tower if you won one of your medals. So it's kind of
That-
cool.
that's
Um,
awesome.
well, great stuff. We'll go down and see Seth. He does wonderful work. He's killing it down there, and of course, the toy store is open. I think 6 or 7 days a week, and Ed's Pet World is open Wednesday through Sunday now. So they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. First of all, how you doing? It was funny. We were talking. I just saw something. The Guinness Book of World Records. This happened yesterday. An American short hair cat in China just broke the record for the fastest skateboarding cat. I didn't even realize there was a record for this. The cat went 32 meters, which is 32.8 feet, in 12.85 seconds.
Okay.
So 30 feet in 12 seconds. And I was trying to figure out how many miles per hour that is. And I got too far into I don't know. I don't know. So many seconds go into a minute. How
Well,
many
it's
minutes go
it's
into a
not
mile? I'm
very
like,
far. Yeah, it's not very far and it's not very fast.
no, it's not. Which I'm thinking to myself, golly, that sounds like a pretty easy record because I mean, I could put a cat on a. All you got to do is get it used to being on a board and push it, right? But I guess I don't know if the cat had to do it on its own.
I would bet that it's harder to keep a cat on a skateboard than we think it is. I would bet that number one, getting a cat to
You
stand
think
on a
so?
skateboard for longer than about 2 seconds would be pretty difficult. And then to be able to push that skateboard and the cat stay on it,
Yeah.
is probably, pretty impressive.
By the way, you got me flipping out here. Topps Baseball Factory Set. This is the 2024 Topps Major League Baseball Trading Complete Set.
Probably 500-600 bucks.
$60.
Whoa.
59.99 for the complete set in stock online at Target right now. They're all 50. They're all 59.99.
So
and it contains all 700 2024 Topps baseball cards in it. That's a hell of a deal. 700
we'll see,
baseball
but
cards.
there must be something to that because some of these boxes, some of these complete sets, I guess they just vary, but they'll be in the hundreds of dollars. I guess it just depends on what kind of cards are in there. But I'll tell you, you keep reminding me of stuff. So my son pulled a card from a pack, and it was a Pete Alonso card.
Yeah.
And it was, he plays first base for the Mets, hits a lot of home runs. Mm-hmm. And it was a specific card where it had, you went online, had a number on it. And you went online and you picked a game that you thought Pete Alonso would hit a home run.
Oh, wow.
And if you were correct, then you got one of the, you got a special card.
Yeah.
All right. You get the Topps would send you a special card. If you decided to double down on the date that Pete Alonso was going to hit a home run and say he hit it over 425,
jeez,
then you got a like super duper special card.
Now, what did you get if you didn't get it right? You lose your card?
No, you don't. You just don't get anything. You still keep the card. You just don't get anything. And then like even if you didn't get anything, like you get the card and you pick the date and you don't get it right or anything, if you just go online and try to pick a date, they enter you into a chance to win a trip to the home run derby this past year in Dallas. So that was a really cool, like interactive.
That is super cool
card thing.
Yeah. The cool thing about cards too. So the last time I bought a card, I was probably 13, 14, maybe 14. I think high school is when I grew up. I think when the cards weren't cool anymore. And I discovered girls. But back then,
those are still cool, by the way.
Yeah, they are still cool. I think I bought maybe like the cellophane packs. I think I maybe bought like 8 or 9 of those at one time. And I mean, I'm not kidding you now. I'm not kidding you. It was like finding treasure. I held onto that bag with 2 hands, and I got home and I locked my bedroom door. And I got down on the floor and I turned the radio off. And I mean, I was like Ralphie in the Christmas Vacation. What's the code? What was the code ring he had? Where
it was Ovaltine.
Ovaltine, man. I sat there and went through those cards, man, so meticulously, and had to place all my cards out, and I skipped dinner that night. And oh yeah, but I mean now. We were working, right? We're making, hopefully 6 figures. And I mean, it makes me wonder if I went and picked up baseball cards again, how many would I buy? Or how many should I buy?
You would buy more than
I sure as hell wouldn't buy the whole set for $60, although that's a lot cheaper than I thought it'd be. 700 cards for $60.
Yeah.
So there's 700 cards. I mean, I may go out right after the show and go buy some baseball cards just to kind of get my feet wet again. And maybe I get my boy involved in it. But now it's been so long, I don't even know what kind of cards they have. Do they have college cards?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've got college cards, but the old brands, like the new brand is, I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's called Panini. That's a real popular brand. Panini.
There was Donruss. Remember Donruss?
Yeah, Donruss is no more. Fleer is no more. Topps is still around. Topps has different varieties like Topps Chrome and stuff like that. But I mean, it's a lot of fun, and so much so that like I went to a baseball game and I bought like a small box. I think it had like 12 packs in it or something. And I was going to give them, give it to my son. Hey, you make a good grade in school. Here's a pack.
That's
Or,
nice.
you do
Yeah.
something nice for your sister. Here's a pack, whatever.
Nice.
But I took like 3 out for myself because I just wanted to go ahead and open them. And
Oh man.
if we would have got anything good, of course I would have given it to him. But I just, it's weird, man. It's just, it's almost like an addiction. You just want to open those packs and check it out.
In case you're wondering, this is Darkside the Pooch. This is a veterinarian show, believe it or not. Rossbridge Animal Hospital's Dr. Rab Stewart joins us on the line. Of course, he knows what he's doing when it comes to pets. 208-0301 is their phone number. Rossbridge Vet, at Rossbridge Vet on the social media and Facebook, and of course online as well. They have a beautiful store out there, the Rossbridge Animal Hospital out there. And certainly I've had a very precarious and strange last few months with some of my animals, and still got Rainer Dog, and he's doing fantastic. But thank goodness I have a person like Dr. Rab in my life who walked me through the loss of a pet earlier this year. And your questions, we love to read your emails. info@TonyCurryRadio.net, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. We got some emails we'll get into here in just a few minutes. But by the way, I wanted to mention we have added 3 more shows to the Tony Curry Rating Podcast Network. We have a new show called Home Field Advantage, which is a show about the mortgage business with Exit Realty's Teresa Autry, which you're doing. We're also doing a show called 4K Wins, which is a new handicapping show, which kind of goes along with baseball and stuff. And we'll be handicapping the World Series and stuff. We have a gentleman from the Las Vegas Sun, Case Kiefer, who joins us. There's 4 of us, and that's another show. So check out wherever you get your favorite podcast. You can find Darkside of the Pooch. You can see a picture of Lizzie, which is my wife's or my ex-wife's dog on the front of that. It's a great show, and we've been doing this show for a couple of years. What's been going on in the world of Rossbridge Animal Hospital? I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while. School started again. Things starting to cool off a little bit. I will get into it right now, and a lot of people, I got 3 emails about it. When is flu season? When is flea season? I think a lot of people think that flea season and flu season coincide together because it seems like when things start to cool off. I always think of flea season as when it starts to fall time, because I think the bugs want to get inside the house because it starts getting colder. We start seeing more spiders and more things, creepy, crawly things. I know you're going to sit there and tell me that flea season is year round, but are there particular times of the year where they're worse than other times?
I mean, they're actually worse in the summer, but I mean, it is here. It doesn't get cold enough to kill off the population of fleas and ticks. So we see animals that come in that have fleas on them 12 months out of the year. But fleas like hot weather the most. So that's when pets and people are going to be at higher risk. There seems to be an influenza outbreak that happened
for dogs or for humans or both.
For dogs, yeah. For dogs that started about a month ago. We really haven't seen many cases of it. We've maybe seen. We haven't had any confirmed flu cases, but we've had probably a small uptick in respiratory cases, but no confirmed flus. Like I think maybe 2.5 years ago, we had a tremendous flu outbreak. We saw many, many cases, but there appears to be some type of upper respiratory deal going around right now.
So with it cooling off, flea season's year round. Of course, the other question is, and I've had fleas several times, and it is a major pain in the butt. People are like, well, do I need to fog the house? Do I need to clean all the sheets? What do I need to do to the dog? Do flea baths work? Do flea medicines work? Does the collar work? We used to always get the collar, that smelly, stinky collar, or I use Brevecto. I think it's called Brevecto. I use it's a 3-month thing, so I don't have to worry about it. Every 3 months, it's worth every dime, just so I don't have to worry about it. But what is the best way to take care of fleas for your animal? And if you do have, I'd say anytime you see a flea, it's an infestation, right? I mean, one flea, it's an infestation. Because if it's got one, it's laying eggs, and that means you get an infestation. What is the best way to get rid of them based on your expertise?
Well, all the medications kind of have their place.
Yep.
There's topical stuff for
flea baths and stuff like that work, or special shampoos?
So I'll tell you, there's really not a whole lot of reason to do shampoos and sprays anymore. They're probably the least effective thing that you can do. They don't last very long. So if you're going to do a spray or a bath, you're only going to get 24 hours, if that,
and they'll come right back.
Then they're just going to come right back. So that's really antiquated. But there are topicals that you can put on the skin, or there are collars you can get them. And for dogs that don't want to take oral medication, then that's a good option.
Mhm.
Also, there's some pre-existing conditions where you may not want to give your dog or cat a system like an oral systemic anti-parasiticide. So, like dogs that are predisposed to seizures, you may choose a topical over an oral. Um, but for healthy dogs, you know, doing oral preventatives is the easiest and probably best way to go. All the stuff for cats is still pretty much topical, but there are special considerations for topical stuff in dogs.
Okay. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Sissy in Birmingham. She saw a dog with, I guess, what do they call the thing they put around their head so they don't bite themselves or lick themselves or whatever?
Yeah, so the
the
I guess the actual term is an Elizabethan collar or
Elizabethan collar.
Elizabethan
Okay.
collar, however you want to pronounce it.
She wants to know why would dogs wear that, and in what case would you want to put that on your pet, and will they actually wear it? And the answer is yes, they will, because if they have to, then they can't get it off. But explain why an animal,
to shame them and make
to
them
shame them.
embarrassed.
Suppose the Scarlet A, they put the Elizabethan collar.
They peed or pooped in the house, so they put a cone on them to like embarrass them.
Yeah.
We use those for just to keep them from usually licking or chewing a part of their body. So especially if they've had surgery, we don't want them to lick on that incision because they'll open it up and create either an infection or make it so you have to close the incision again. So we'll put a cone on them. We'll also use them if for some reason they're rubbing their eyes or they're rubbing their ears or something like that. And we need to protect that part of their body from being rubbed. So we'll put a cone on them. And the length of the cone depends on what you're trying to prevent. If you're trying to prevent a dog from licking or chewing on something, then the cone needs to go past their nose because their tongue's pretty long, so it needs to go past their nose. If you're just trying to use it to protect their face, it really just kind of needs to go halfway down the snout, as long as you're not trying to keep them from rubbing the snout. Usually when we're trying to keep them from, if a dog has a corneal abrasion, from either playing with another dog or running through the bushes and getting a scratch on the surface of their eye, we're using cones in a lot for to protect that. Or if they have an ear hematoma, we're trying to keep them from shaking their head a lot. Then we'll put one on for that as well. And those tend to be shorter.
Stacy wants to know, can dogs and cats get concussions?
Oh man.
The first time I think we've had that question. It's a good question.
Yeah. So I really don't know the answer to that. And the main reason I don't know the answer to that is because dogs typically don't concussion symptoms in a human. If we're, trying to transpose that into an animal, it'd be very, very difficult to know that they have concussion symptoms.
Because we throw up, right? And so dogs throw up all the time.
Yeah, but also they could tell you, hey, I'm feeling nauseous, or I'm feeling dizzy. And I guess dogs can throw up, and dogs can get dizzy and things like that. But I think a lot of human concussions are based more on, verbal communication.
Yep.
And also there's always somebody around to witness when someone gets hit in the head or, falls down and hits their head. And in a dog's case, it's not really like that. So I really can't tell you any time that dogs really don't take a whole lot of lumps to the head unless they get hit by a car.
Yeah.
They just don't, unless it's an accidental. The last time I saw a pet get hit in the head really bad was a cat. We may have talked about it on the air. It's been a while, but for some reason, the story was that someone was just swinging a golf club.
Yeah.
And the cat got in front of the golf club. It wasn't a malicious type thing.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But so that cat did have some symptoms of a neurological issue, which that's what a concussion is. Concussion is basically a bruised brain. And so this cat, had neurological issues. So I guess you could, in a roundabout way, say that was a concussion. And we treat it symptomatically. A lot of times they'll have swelling on their brain, and so you'll give them a medication called mannitol to help pull that swelling out. So, yes and no, I guess.
You're watching Darkside the Pooch.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.